Happy holidays. I hope everybody's well and enjoying the festivities. Although, anyways, I don't want to destroy anybody's ideas of the festive season with my beliefs, but it comes from pagan origins. But even that's not even a bad thing. It's just good to know, where you're coming from. But anyways, I'm here today to talk about three topics. One, about being spiritually gifted. Two, about the age of Aquarius and its effects on society and people of today. And finally, spiritual protection in this climate and time, which is very important. First, let's talk about being gifted, whether it's spiritually or just gifted with a normal physical ability. People talk about being gifted as if it's something that should be given away for free. Oh, you've been given a gift by God. You should give it away to others, but it's not the case. Being gifted doesn't only apply to spiritual gifts, but physical ones too. I got my notes, so if you see me looking down, I'm reading my notes. But yeah, spiritual gifts don't only apply to physical, gifts don't only apply to spiritual gifts, but physical ones too. And being told to share your gifts because you got them for free is absolute nonsense. Let's be real. Because if you're gifted to do something in the world, to help others, and to bring change to society, why should you not be compensated for this? You can't dedicate your life to doing things for free. How will you survive? Gifts have to be nourished, cultivated, and it takes time to practice and hours of one's time. Hours of one's time on top of that, time is precious. And you can't just give up your time just to be drained by others. It doesn't make sense. But you're giving your time and energy, especially spiritually, if you have a spiritual gift. When you're giving away your spiritual gift to others, you're going to become very drained, very tired. And also, with spiritual gifts come energy transfers. So you're transferring your energy with other people. It requires spiritual maintenance, which is not cheap. When you're doing energy transfers, when you're dealing with energy transfers and working with other people with your spiritual gifts, you have to maintain yourself. Spiritual maintenance is a very high and important thing. If you know about spiritual maintenance, you know that you need to cleanse yourself, take regular spiritual baths, cleanse your home, cleanse your energy, meditate, practice certain spiritual practices so that you can be ready, grounded, and level headed. Deliver the services properly and to the best of your ability. Yeah, so it requires cleansing your energy to maintain yourself, as well as daily practices to manage and maintain the gift. If you're not maintaining and practicing your gift, then it's going to go away. You're going to lose it. And being spiritual is not easy as one thinks. In fact, it's more difficult. It's one of the most difficult paths that you can know. It's a very difficult path to be on. And it's not easy to maintain. When you're spiritually gifted, and you're working with spirits, you're working with other people, there's going to be all kinds of things that come your way to kind of bring you down, to stop you in your path. You're going to be facing all kinds of what's the word I'm looking for? All kinds of obstacles, all kinds of negativity, fighting forces beyond your control, forces that come to deter you and stop you in your path. You gotta think about this really deeply before you go to a spiritualist and tell them about why you not offering your services for free. Think about it. With a plumber, it's just like having a physical gift and being an artist, a carpenter, a plumber, a mechanic, construction worker. Those are all gifts. Are you gonna give that away for free? Are you gonna build somebody a house for free? Are you gonna help somebody through psychology for free? If you're a psychologist, just like being a psychologist, when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with their emotions, their pain, their heavy burdens. And as a spiritualist, you're taking on board all of these heavy energies, all of these toxic energies, which are going to leak onto you. And this is why it requires spiritual maintenance, cleansing protections, cleansing protections, and all sorts of other things that need to be done to maintain one's spiritual essence. You know, it's a currency that you're giving out. If you know about the laws of currency, currency must be exchanged. If you're giving out your currency to other people, then you need that exchange for your service. Otherwise, how will one survive in the material world without this exchanging currency? It doesn't make sense. You gotta think about it, it's really hard. When you go out to make a product, get help from somebody, make a purchase for a product, you need that exchanging currency. You know, you're spending your money and they're giving you a service. It's just like spiritual services. If they're giving you a spiritual service in exchange for your money, it's not a bad thing. You can't think about that as a negative thing because everything requires exchange. It's not that they're not doing it for the sake of happiness and inner peace. When you're taking on somebody else's demons, so it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of work. Take on another person's demons and energy and negativity and all sorts. You know, this is why cleansing must be done. This is why protection must be done. This is why one has to focus on the spiritual hygiene. Spiritual hygiene is very important, even if you're not a spiritualist, even if you're just a spiritual person, and you're not giving any services, you're not delivering any services. You gotta think about your spiritual hygiene. You know, are you cleansing yourself regularly? Are you cleansing yourself as much as you can? Are you keeping yourself grounded? Are you keeping your mind away from toxins that are going to affect your judgment and your discernment and your intuition? You gotta think about that. But make it make sense. Now, spiritually, in this timeline, in this season, we have now entered the age of Aquarius. The age of Pisces is over. It enters the age of Aquarius about 1950 something, 56, 66, around those times. But we're only in the beginning stages of the age of Aquarius. That's why things are so chaotic because the age of Pisces is resisting the change, you know? People stuck in that Piscean energy. They're resisting change, they're resisting transformation. And this is what Age of Aquarius is all about. Transformation. The Age of Aquarius is here now, bringing great transformation and growth for individuals and society. Expect to receive DNA upgrades and downloads from Source, the Creator, and your spirit guides, as well as ancestors. And you need to get to know your spirit guides during this time and your ancestors. Get to know your ancestors because they make the foundation for most spiritual practices. Most spiritual practices, the foundation is ancestral veneration, ancestral work, and dealing with ancestors. You know, without your ancestors, there would be no you. You'd be nothing. You wouldn't be here right now. So it's good to know that their spirits are still on the other side of the veil, helping you in your lifetime, helping you achieve things that you thought you would never achieve. You know, it's not only about the source and God and all of this and that. Your ancestors are your spirit guides. Your main spirit guides are your ancestors. And they're there guiding you through this lifetime, helping you along the way. So don't forget them. You need to remember to leave them some libations, leave them some offerings, light a candle for them as much as you can, even if it's just once a week. Sit there and light a candle for your ancestors. The best thing to do is to create an altar for them. Have an altar within your home. If you can, if you've got the space for it, and you don't live with anybody, it's good to set up an altar for your ancestors. A little space for your ancestors to come through. This will make a portal for them to be able to come through, you know, and allow them to come through and help you even more. The stronger your connection with the ancestors, the better your life can get. And the stronger they can help you, and the better they can help you. So you need to build up bond with them, strengthen the bond, and allow them to come into your life and make change. Because ancestors are the ones that lead the way. They're the ones that open the roads. They're the ones that guide you along your life's journey and tell you where you need to be and what you need to do. They're the ones that open the doors for the spirit guides to come through. The other spirit guides are not your ancestors, you know? So before you run to any deities, any gods or goddesses and start worshipping and honoring them, think about what your ancestors want you to do, you know? People often run to gods and deities, trying to honor them and deal with deities, but they don't think about what their ancestors want, and, you know, or what's within their lineage, what's within their bloodline. Hello to anybody that's coming in right now. We're talking about spiritual stuff here today. Right now, I'm on the topic of Age of Aquarius and what the Age of Aquarius is going to bring for us. But yes, as I was saying, people run to deities and don't think about what their ancestors would like, what their bloodline is working with. You know, your bloodline is a gateway to what you should be working with. Instead of running to deities and goddesses and gods, your ancestors will open the road for that in the future, as long as you work with them and deal with them the right way. Moving on from the ancestors, we're talking about the age of Aquarius here and the transitions that we'll be facing. The transitions that we'll face is moving away from the age of Pisces, moving away from the age of Pisces, which was associated with religion, hierarchy, and a very me-focused society. Greetings, welcome. Yes, so the age of Pisces is focused all about me, me, me. What can I do for myself? And greed and things like that. And a lot of hidden agendas just so people can succeed for themselves. Moving into the age of Aquarius now, we're focusing on science, equality, and freedom. And a we-focused society. Instead of being all about me, 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 we're focusing on we as a nation, we as a collective, we as a people. You know, we as a society, this is what the Age of Aquarius is all about. You know, humanitarian activities and activations. You know, we're loosening the shackles that hold us down by governments. In 2025, the planet of Pluto, the planet of deep transformation, has fully entered the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years until 2044. You know, this will impact society in a big way. Greetings, greetings. Hi, how's everyone doing? My name's Mario. You're here with Divine Aura Readings. And I'm talking about the Age of Aquarius right now. So get yourself a cup of tea and sit with me for a bit. Remember to subscribe and like this video. So as we were saying, the planet Pluto, the planet of deep transformation, has fully entered the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years. Now this is a massive shift, a massive change, a massive acceleration in this Aquarius energy. You know, this will impact and accelerate the acceleration of the Aquarian shift, bringing a massive rise in AI and technological advancements, radical new social structures, and intensified activism for human rights. You know, so there's big things happening, big changes happening, especially within society. You know, this AI technology that's taking over the world right now, this AI stuff that's happening, all due to the age of Aquarius coming in. You know, this AI activation. Greetings, hi. It's all about the age of Aquarius. All these changes within government, all these secret societies and organizations that control us are about to be broken down. So, yes, we're dealing with radical transformations and activism for human rights right now. You know, people are standing up for themselves against governments. You know, also on top of that, there'll be information and transparency. The information is more accessible to all rather than power held through secret societies, held through secrets. This will allow secrets this will allow society to focus on integrity and authenticity. What the hell? This will allow society to focus on integrity and authenticity rather than control and power structures. You know? If you know about control and power structures within society, you know that the government controls us. The government, they want to hold power over us rather than allowing us to thrive as a nation. It's all about control. They control you with the mind control, with all this social media, all this television, all this, you know, all these. I don't even want to get into it right now, but you know, if you know, you know. I don't know how deep you're in down the rabbit hole or into the spiritual journey, but if you know, you know. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes right now. I got lost. Yeah, so rather than control and power structures, we'll be bringing down these authoritarian governments who rule us through fear and discipline. And that's how they rule us: fear, discipline, and control. mind control techniques that they've been using since God knows when, especially since these technological advancements have come in. They've been trying to control us through that. And we're taking over. We're taking over these media streams. And this is why social media is so powerful right now, because people are going onto social media and standing up for themselves. If you think about it, they can't control us through social media anymore. The only thing they can control us with is advertisements, adverts. That's it. But social media is all about these people. Think about it. Social media is part of the age of Aquarius, societies, social structures, and this is how people are going to connect. There'll be big connections happening, not only physically but spiritually too. We'll be able to connect more on a spiritual level, on higher frequencies. But back to the topic. There'll be a technological revolution bringing forth rapid advancements in space travel and renewable energy. There will also be a shift from Earth-based concepts such as materialism and me-based structures to air-based concepts of ideas and communication. Now think about that. We're going from the concept of materialism to concepts of ideas and communication. Communication to do with the age of Aquarius. Everybody's communicating through technology, through socials and social media. The only shadow side of this age of Aquarius would be the potential for emotional detachment. Because if we know astrology, Aquarians, and I'm born in Aquarius myself. I was born February the 13th, so I'm a February Aquarius. But we're quite detached people. We're quite detached from our emotions, so that's one thing that's going to be a downfall. Not a downfall, but a negative aspect of the age of Aquarius. But it's not fully a bad thing. And yeah, so for emotional detachment and focus on group thoughts, a loss of personal privacy due to over reliance on technology. So we need to work on that as a society. And protection is a must during the season. As we transition into 2026, I'll move away from the topic of the age of Aquarius to talk about protection. Okay, spiritual protection. How are we protecting ourselves during the spiritual streets? Because if you know anything about history and the seasons, the veil is thinner right now. We're in sacrifice season. There's a season where people are being, you know, sacrificed for the benefits of others. Where people used to do sacrifices in the past. 2026 is vibrating on a number one energy. It's a year of renewal and new beginnings, transformation. There's a chance of having a fresh start, and this is why it's important to protect yourself and protect your blessings. Because in the world of the occult, there are people out there that want to steal your gifts and your energy. In this world of the occult, people out there want to steal your gifts and your energy to manifest their agendas, to manifest their desires, to manifest the life they want to live. There's a lot of destiny swapping right now. There's a sacrifice season, as I said earlier, and the occult world is very busy, especially as the veil between this world and the next, this world and the spirit world is thin right now. With this thin veil between this world and the spirit world, people are very active in their practices, you know, the witches, the warlocks, all of those people. The alchemists, the spiritualists are out there, the ones who are advanced in their spiritual journey, the ones who do negativity. There's the positive ones as well, so we can't focus on only negativity, but I'm just saying there's a lot of negative forces out there trying to move against the agenda of society and agenda of others for their own materialistic purposes. So this is why it's good to protect yourself. You gotta protect yourself while you elevate because people will come into your life to suck the energy out of you. You have to be wary of energy vampires, especially within your close associations and family. Have you ever experienced an energy vampire? You know what they come for, you know what they do, you know how they'll drain you and suck your energy. If you want to protect yourself, you gotta protect yourself by reading. I know that the Bible, people's thoughts on it when they become spiritual, but the Bible is a spell book, especially the book of Psalms. And if you know anything about voodoo, you know that in hoodoo they use the Bible a lot. They use the spells from the Bible for a lot of the spiritual works. So tap into the Psalms and good Psalms for protection from the Bible. You got Psalms 1, Psalms 2, Psalms 23, Psalms 27, Psalms 91. They're all good for protection. Even Psalms 56. So think about tapping into Bible magic. Going into prayer and building a relationship with your ancestors. As I mentioned previously, your ancestors are your guardians. They're like your guardian angels. Your ancestors are your spiritual guides. So building a relationship with your ancestors will help you protect yourself because they're your first line of defense. You know, you'd have to protect your space too by cleansing, having a spiritual bath, cleansing out clutter from your space where negative spirits and energies can hide, and using cleansing solutions to cleanse your space, as well as smoking out your house with something strong, such as frankincense, myrrh, benzoin, camphor, you know, copal. You can even put together some spiritual protective herbs and make a homemade incense to smudge your home with. So if you know how to make an incense, if you know about herbs and their spiritual properties, you put together some spiritual herbs to cleanse your property. You know, get together some rosemary. What else can you use? Some basil. Add a bit of frankincense in there. Um, there's so many herbs. You can add a bit of moringa, some soursop leaves. They're good for protection as well. Or if you're not familiar with moringa and soursop, you can use other herbs such as hyssop. Um, Damiama can be used also, but hyssop is better. Rue. So we get some rue, some hyssop, some rosemary, and some basil, some cat's claw, and make an incense with it. And then you can use that to smoke at your home. Get those little charcoal circles, those charcoal discs, light it up, and put your incense on the disc, and it will burn and create a nice smoke to smudge out your home. If you have a fan, use it to fan into the corners, because that's where spirits like to hide, energies like to hide, in the corners of your home. Greetings, everybody, greetings. Hello, hello, welcome. And you know what? Sometimes protection just looks like having awareness, putting down the vices such as drugs, alcohol, and being present in the moment. You don't want to numb out or dim your senses or be hyper aware because this is how spiritual attachments feed on you. You know, especially when you're drunk, especially when you're high. You know, when you're not in this world mentally, spirits will attach to you and take over. Your awareness is very important in this world. You got to pay attention to your energy and the energy around you, and work on your discernment. Discernment is another important thing. Discernment and intuition. You know, utilizing your intuition and your discernment in the spiritual streets will save you from a lot of mess, from a lot of problems. You know, will save you from a lot of people. When your discernment is on point, and when your discernment is active, you'll be able to discern between the energies that are coming at you, the negative forces, the negative energies, the spiritual attachments, and the people that want to destroy you or take you out, or use you as a sacrifice, or use your energy as, or do anything against you. Your intuition will help you pinpoint these things and help you be able to understand and see what's coming, like foresight. They'll come to you in your dreams. They'll come to you in your meditations. They'll come to you in your daily walks, especially when your bond with your ancestors is strong. Then they'll come to you through your intuition. Yes. So remember to keep that in mind. Okay. Now I'm done with my notes so far. This video was quicker than I expected. I've already been here for an hour, 45 minutes, but it's only been half an hour. And that's today's topic done. That's spiritual protection and an awareness. Any questions from the people? I'll take some questions before I go. For anybody that's been here throughout this video. Otherwise, we're done here. All right. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. Remember, if you want to book me for a reading, you can go to my website, spiritual-digest.com, and you can book me for either a 25-minute session, the 25-minute, sorry, a half an hour session, which was £25, or an hour session, which is £50. Use the discount code on my website, Solstice 444 with a capital S. Solstice 444 on my website to get a discount on spiritual readings. And yeah, remember to follow me, subscribe, go to my Instagram page. The link, everything is going to be in the bio, in the description box below. So you can see the link to my website, there's the link to my Instagram and TikTok. And you can follow me there too. Peace, have a good day, and many blessings. I'll be back later in about half an hour to do a live reading for the collective, but give me time to prepare for that.